Hi guys, here to analyze another game. You didn't see that. Now with the blue light glasses, my eyes were straining. I was just working on the puzzles and was staring at the screen pretty aggressively. Didn't do so well in my puzzles. I challenge you to do better. So again, we have another one of these wonderful series where we're going to just see a 55 move game ending in a checkmate, how this goes, and see if there's anything we can learn from it. As always, I'm going to try, I'm going to message the players after if they want to see the analysis, and I encourage everyone to subscribe because I do a couple of these a week, and this is a good way to learn and pick up different things. I find a lot of streamers do streaming at kind of a higher level, and I kind of want to hit something that's not so high level because first of all, I'm not that good to be able to do that, but I can pick out improvements in levels that are lower than mine. So let's have a look. Okay, we have, help if I click on the right screen. So what sort of game do we have here? We have an E4 game. Always E4. As I always say in almost all of my videos, make sure you know your E4 openings and have responses to them because they're probably 90% of the games you're going to play in this 800 to 1000 range. Ooh, spicy. I like that. Challenging the middle right away. Used to be actually one of my opening repertoires way back when, was to challenge E4 with D4 every time. Okay, so I actually think you're quite safe here to push this pawn. And then after the knight deflects, then you can just control the middle. That seems like a very safe plan to me. Okay, capture. I wouldn't have done that because you're allowing them to capture back and they just have the development and the nice piece, versus you could have just really started to hammer down the middle. But to each their own. Watch this diagonal. It's going to be dangerous. So, queen out. I once heard that people say the first person to move the queen is the first person to lose it. You should never move your queen early, only under like the most extreme circumstances. This is just a one move threat. You're just like, there's a knight here. I kind of am annoyed by it. So let's give it a kiss. Hi. Goodbye, knight. So knight is going to get defended. So see, there's the problem. Now you have your queen out. They've managed to start develop a pawn chain. The bishop is out. This knight wasn't deflected, and they're going to get this knight out. So you're going to end up getting your queen deflected away. Just ping, ping. What else can you do? I'm just gonna, sorry guys, I got him taken aside here. So, okay, so, sorry, someone was messaging me, wanted to join the Twitch through Discord. So let's have a look here. Okay, we have. Okay, so what are the next moves we see played here? Okay, not the worst. Again, this queen is not necessarily well positioned here. It's going to be very, very easily kicked out. The one benefit of having this here and forcing the knight, the threat on the knight in this pawn push is that now this bishop is kind of sad, and the queen is a little, or the king is kind of exposed on the dark squares here. Boop. I mean, not the worst case scenario, like white can just fianchetto out, which is to do that, push the pawn and move the bishop. Then you don't really have as many problems. You can pretty quickly castle, and white's pretty happy here. So there's that. I probably would have done this, but because you're just exposing yourself here. Sometimes that's known as the poison pawn, though. Reason being, especially if there's a knight out over here, if you take this pawn, oftentimes you're just creating a chance for white to open an attack on you. So don't just gobble up pawns necessarily just because they're there. I mean, in this case, you might not be too bad because if they move the rook over, then you're just going to take another pawn, and this is still well defended. So I personally would have done this to chase away the queen, but okay. Oh, this queen. You gotta. My first bit of suggestion here is you gotta start playing with pieces other than your queen. You've made, what is it? This is move 5, and you have one pawn and a queen out. Like, you could have had all sorts of different things going on. That knight cannot move like that. But you get the idea. Okay. Interesting. So the danger with that for white is, first of all, again, this bishop is not moving. Second of all, that weakens this square. That becomes an outpost square for this knight to just hop right in and just live there, right? Because pawns cannot move beside it to attack it. So either you got to give up a bishop or a knight to take it. In which case you're just going to help me get a pawn wedge in the middle, and that pawn is not moving. So, okay, you're getting there. I mean, I pretty well would have just gotten the queen, like, either just given a check. No, because then the bishop's going to come in. You have to move again. I would have just gone all the way back here, because now you're standing in the way of your bishop. So, okay. Interesting. So this is what our favorite YouTuber, after me of course, Gotham Chess would call danger levels. You threaten a pawn, you threaten a pawn, I threaten a knight. What is going to happen here? I mean, knight could just do this. I don't know. Okay. What do we have happening here? Take. Comfortably up a pawn. I mean, you're giving up your dark squared bishop for a knight, but might not be the worst. You do also have doubled pawns here. It might be hard to hold on to. You would almost have to do maybe this and try and... Nah, I don't really like that. You'd probably have to eventually try and castle queenside at this rate. Okay, so another queen move. I'm going to say it a lot of times this game, I think. You have more pieces than your queen! Okay. So the nice thing is, though, is that you are eyeing down this kind of soft spot here. If that bishop ever moves, then you get likely a free rook and a pawn and possibly some more stuff. So it's sort of a way of distance paralyzing the bishop being on this diagonal. But you can watch, they're pushing all of these pieces. You have no control of the middle, so it's very hard for you to get pieces out now. And I mean, you've blocked in this bishop. This bishop isn't going anywhere. That knight can't get out. You're kind of having a really hard time of development here. Okay, so we have the fianchetto coming. So this is hopefully going to come here and contribute to an attack along this angle. Although the queen is going first, so that's going to be a bad idea. Also threatening the knight that you're just grumpy is standing there. That makes sense. Okay. Not a free knight. You have the queen defending. You also have a lot of things looking at this piece now between the bishop and the knight. I mean, there's still a lot of things defending, but there's some potential sacrifices you could look at coming down the line. I don't know if you... I don't really like this idea, but you could. You could consider some of these things. Okay. Check. Fair. Voluntarily moves the king. Interesting. Okay, so that bishop really is stuck. That light squared bishop on white side, oof. He is having a bad day. We're just going to leave that circle there for him. See if he ever gets a chance to go anywhere nice. Oh, good grief. Okay, so a lot of one move threats. You're saying there's a piece in my zone, I want to take it out. Don't even worry about it. If it's not doing anything, just let it hang out. Let them waste their own moves. Heck, sometimes just moving other pieces around are just slowly going to choke it out until the only moves it has are retreating maneuvers, right? Like now you've weakened this whole side. Where's your king going to castle to? You're just, I mean, they take, you take. Now what? You got isolated pawns, right? That's all that you'd have left. It's this and this. Those are going to be really hard to defend. These are too far advanced, so your king is going to have a hard time getting to safety. You're going to be chased around this game. I can tell you that much right now. Okay, yeah, so that's the other problem, is you let the knight back in. Benefit being, you can now take this for free because it's hanging. You have more attackers than white has defenders. So white, this is a good learning opportunity to, just because you were safe there before, it doesn't mean you're safe there now. Always look, count, and remember, just because you have kind of equal pieces involved in the fight, it matters who's going to be taking first. So, yeah, that's bad news bears. Oh, no. Oh, no. Nice idea, trying to think of getting this bishop to be forced to move over here so that this becomes extra free, but you don't need to do that. You can just have it for free. It's just there, just hanging out. Okay, so that's the other problem with this, is this was weakened as soon as that bishop came out. So what are you going to do about that? you can put the knight in the middle. That's what you can do. And then if they take, this is hanging. You can also take that back. And I actually maybe even wouldn't even take back right away because first of all, 3 pawns in a row. I mean, what are we doing? The like March of the Penguins here? That seems ridiculous. I would personally just go and place this here, let him take it, grab this, and if he tries to grab this, then you can move over and get the open file, and you've already got a queen hanging out threatening it. So you would be able to come down with check. When they capture, you come in with check again. They move the king out. You can take that rook. I know, that's really, really complicated. Do you guys just want to see what I'm talking about? Here, this will make this a lot easier. So I'm saying you could do this, 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 okay, this, this, for example. Let's just silly move, check, capture, check. Let's move here, there. This knight is pinned. And even if it weren't, you've got 2 things looking at it. So say they can figure out some way to defend it, which they cannot because there are no pieces that could. You can, like, I mean, you could do this. Just say you go over here, and they're like, haha, can't because the queen is hanging. So you can't do any ha-has because, again, queen is hanging. So let's go to the start of that whole variation. Where were we? Okay. Whoa. Okay, so this, that. So you're just giving up your rook then. You're not taking the rook. Take the rook. It's there for you. Take your rook. Oh yeah, sorry. Just saw that. Queen h1 instead of queen takes h1. Queen f2 check. Yeah, actually you're right. Out of this whole where were we? Yeah, you're right. Checkmate. So, look at me. This is why I keep people around. Okay, so just to recap, we've had a hanging knight for many moves. Like this guy has just been hanging out there. This is hanging out here. We have a lot of pieces in the balance. We can't really castle to any good side. We've voluntarily moved our king. These are the things you should try and avoid. It's okay. You'll learn. Okay, captures back. Again, not going for the pawn, which would then open up your ability for your queen to come in. I mean, that would not be the best square, obviously. If your king weren't standing there, you'd have many better squares, but that's okay. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so remember that knight that's been hanging. Sometimes it's easy to recognize that oh, sorry. I'm just answering the Twitch for a moment. I guess I don't really need to type this. Okay, yeah, so I'm not, I'm just talking to you the recording so that people can watch this later. So, knights, they move backwards as well. And that's sometimes something that people will forget at around the 800 to 1000 levels, that pieces only move forward. You're looking at their attacks. You're not really worried about what they can do behind them. So, yes, we have a hanging queen. And white sees it. Okay, so you capture back. And still leaving this pawn here. Like, I saw you move the bishop there. I don't know if you were just moving out of the way of the pawn, but it was to a very good square. You should just go and get that rook. It's just hanging out, having a good time there. Okay, so we have check. Not the worst because you do have like a lot of pawns involved here, and you're gonna get a queen, obviously. So, hey, why not? Okay. Still got this rook hanging now, so you got to do something about this right away, like this, for example. When you can't, or I mean, you could just do this, but that's, you don't want to undevelop your pieces. You spent the first like 11 moves just moving your queen around, so you need to start getting some pieces brought into the game. So yes, I would get this knight out. I would try and get this knight out, even castle long, even though this is undefended, and try and make counterplay down the middle. Because you do have strong pawns. Okay. So we're going to force the bishop to move to where we didn't want it to move. There we go. Okay. So you have a check. There's nothing you can, like this rook is gonzo. All you could really have hoped for at this point is to get the bishop back in return. You're not going to be able to do it before it's able to pull all the way across the board. Normally you can do things like you could block it if there was another pawn here and then try and get this rook in. You could push pawns, like different things like that. Not available because this pawn is already so far advanced. I wonder if this would actually be a potential plan. I don't think you do have that. Okay. You thought the same thing as me, apparently. So, problem with this is that you are, if the king moves forward, first of all, you don't really have much in the way of defense for that pawn. Like after this, there's nothing. And you can't really check from your knight because the bishop, once again, can move backwards. So, okay. Personally, white, just go for the pawn. Just take it. It's there. It's hanging out for you. Get your king active. Why the heck not? Okay. Rook trade. So what's the material count here? So we're going to just assume this guy's dead because he basically is whenever white feels like it. Then we are 2 knights, a bishop, and a rook versus knight, bishop, and 2 rooks. So we're just down the exchange, and black is up a pawn. So, I mean, yeah, +1 for, yeah, +1 for white. So, I mean, at this point, you don't necessarily want to be doing trades. You don't want to take both your rooks right off the board and just let them reign supreme with 2 bishops and a rook. Like, 2 knights, they don't have the kind of mobility that a bishop does. That's sort of why they're preferred over knights, is they have all of this long range movement. They can jump all over the board. So we've got this. White, I personally would have just gone for the trade and then just taken the other rook and just lived a happy life. Okay. So again, we're getting into these 1-move threats, which you always have to look at. Where are they going to move? Is it doing anything for my position? So now this bishop that was looking so nicely down that diagonal and boxing in that king so that he had very few squares to go to, all of these were prevented. You actually would have had a checkmate right here if you could get the bishop off this diagonal. So actually kind of a ridiculous kind of thought would have been, I don't know, sack something and just go here. Because, yeah, got this. Say you get something like this. Say just for whatever reason they want to go here. You got checkmate. Checkmate? Yes, no. Nope, that's not checkmate because you're giving up this square again. Well, still be a good move though because you can now do whatever you want with this knight. For example, you could do this with check. Right? Okay, so anyway, we have bishop a3. See? Where's the rook gonna go? So don't go here. You're just putting pieces back and forth. Okay. Okay, so this is a good position for black to be in here because you can do the whole thing that I was showing you earlier, pull the knight out of the way and use that to get the rook. And the bishop cannot capture back because it's busy on this. I mean, the king will probably move here and then here. So you could maybe recover this game. White, you need to look at not putting your king directly in the line of rooks, bishops, queens like that. Even if there's a piece in the middle, discovered attacks, X-rays, they're called. You want to keep an eye out for. Oh no. Okay, yeah. So discovered attacks, certainly something you want to keep an eye on too. Black is that you could have just gone here, taken that rook. So what I'm saying is, get this. It's basically going to do this, this, this. You're not in the worst position in the world. I mean, you could almost get away with pushing these pawns down the middle. Because the king, first of all, can't even come to help, and these ones not going anywhere. Although both of them are defending these squares pretty well. Might be a bit difficult. In which case you can just pick up this pawn, just if you had to. Okay, so anyway, what do we have happening here? So the knight, where were we? Bishop a3, yes, this, that. Okay. So you just wanted to give up bishop instead of the knight? Okay. Alright, I mean, personal preference, I guess. So you don't want to do that because now king is attacking the knight, bishop is attacking the knight, rook is defending. So if they take, for example, okay, got this, they can just quite cleanly do this and win. So don't do that. Always remember, count the pieces that are attacking, count the pieces that are defending, and keep in mind who is attacking first. Okay. Yeah. Oh no. Now this is totally undefended. Okay. Oh no. Okay. So something to keep an eye on is don't look at just like what's directly happening with the rook move, for example. This is a suggestion for white. If you see them move, don't think, okay, they're coming down here to attack my bishop. Think about what was the job that piece used to do, right? It used to defend the knight, now it does not. So this is just a free piece. Also keep in mind what pieces stand in the middle of for those discovered attacks. Okay, so now it is again defended. I guess black saw that they had undefended it and white didn't run through it. Capture, capture, capture. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Going for the pawn. Defended. Trying to get yours in. Forcing them to trade. That's a good way to force them to be down a little bit of material. I mean, you're on the second rank, so they say rooks on the second are killer. So you're going to get a pawn one way or the other. Okay. Put your king right here. No. So if you put your king there, they can quite safely bring their rook around, bring their bishop in. Actually, the rook would probably go to the other side. And then come down, and that would be a promoting pawn. Because your rook probably will not be in time to support the pawn. Okay, yep. Yep. Get this down here. Okay. So keep in mind, rather than defending a piece, you can always just move it if it helps. Okay. There you go. You got there. Okay. Rooks in front of their own pawns are bad news. Okay, so black, this is a chance to win. You do this, you win. You go here, you have to move, you get the rook. So those X-ray attacks. Okay, you didn't actually have to take it. What you could have done is you could have just... well, for one, you could just checkmate. Yes, that is an option. You just do that. That's checkmate. But that's fine. You're still winning. Here. And just do whatever you gotta do. White wins. Okay, so. Okay. Oh! That hurts my heart! That hurts my heart! Look all the way across the board! Okay, sorry. Where was I? Okay, what had happened? We'd gotten here. Yeah. Okay, you guys are just really fixated on these pawns here. So, fun fact, white moves over, white moves down, it's checkmate. Heck, if white moves over, white moves down, checkmate. Also, if black goes here, takes that rook, yeah, it's gonna be a good old win. Not anymore, because now white will be in time to defend the rook. Oh no. Okay, so we got there. Good job. Good job. You found the checkmate. It was actually a sort of unique checkmate to find at the end. Proud of you guys. I'm going to send this, as I said, to the players who played this. Good job. And that is the end of our recording.